Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I would like to share with you a very interesting game which was played in the semi-final of the 2018 Speed Chess Championship, with the white piece is playing Levon Aronian and his opponent is Hikaru Nakamura. This game is from 5 minutes plus 1 second portion, and now let's see what happened on the board. Aronian opened up with e4 and e5 by Nakamura, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, we have the Italian game, bishop c5, and white castles kingside, knight f6, d3. Aronian is choosing the Giuoco Piano, which usually leads to quiet positional maneuvering game, but after a few more moves we will see how Aronian will transform the quiet Giuoco Piano into a sharp attacking game. d6 by Nakamura, c3, black castles kingside, bishop g5 h6, bishop h4 a6, knight d2, bishop a7, and king h1. A prophylactic move by Aronian. He's unpinning the pawn on f2, which later will jump into the game without meeting any obstacles. g5 by Nakamura, and knight takes g5. Aronian is choosing a very aggressive line where he's giving away his knight for 2 pawns, but in return is ripping open black's kingside and is making it vulnerable. Now let's see, can white make use of that fact? Bishop takes g5, king g7 and f4. White wants to open up the f file and exploit this pin. Rook h8. With this move, black actually created a very dangerous rook takes h2 threat, after which the queen can join the attack, and of course this powerful bishop will support black pieces. d4 by Aronian, which is a mistake, after which black is managing to gain advantage. Instead of playing d4, it was better either to play h3 or f takes e5. And now rook takes h2 is not dangerous. White can recapture with the king. If queen h8 check, then king g3. If knight h5 check, then king h2, after which all black can do is to give a perpetual check. Of course not king f3, because in this case black can gain advantage, and then black can announce a check from g3 and then can capture f1 and bishop g4. Black has a huge advantage. Let's go back in our game. After rook h8 we have d4. He takes d4, e5, and a powerful response by Nakamura, knight g4. He's offering his queen, but of course the queen is untouchable, because in that case soon white king will get checkmated. The bishop is suddenly joining the attack, after which white king is getting checkmated. That's why after knight g4, Aronian played h3, neutralized all the threats from the h file, and right now is already threatening to win black queen. Here comes queen g8, another very precise move by Nakamura. In a blitz game, he's finding the best moves. I guess he was still in his preparations and knew these variations very well. Knight e4, now comes knight e3 fork. Queen f3, knight takes c4, knight f6, and bishop takes h3. Another precise move by Nakamura, because if I move like queen f8, then in this case it's white who can gain advantage. The threat is bishop h6 check with a mating line. That's why after knight f6 we have this beautiful bishop takes h3 move. With this move, Nakamura is freeing the c8 square for the queen with a tempo. G takes h3. Of course, winning the queen is not a good idea, because black can announce a discover check. If bishop h6 check, then after this forced line, in the end of the day, again, black has an advantage. Let's go back in our game. After bishop takes h3, we have g takes h3 and queen c8. This time the threat is rook takes h3 check. King h2, after which the knight is forking the queen and the rook for the second time in this game. Queen g2, knight takes f1 check, and rook takes f1. Right now there is a very dangerous bishop h6 threat. And in this position Nakamura made a mistake and played king f8. So far so good, he was making precise moves, but this king f8 is actually allowing white to gain advantage. Instead of king f8, it was better to play queen f5. cover this essential g5 square. Already bishop h6 check is not dangerous because of this king takes h6 and there is no checkmate. Let's go back, but in our game after rook takes f1 we have king f8, f5 by Aronian. In return he's also making an inaccurate move. He could gain advantage by capturing on d6. Now if c takes d6 then rook e1 is very strong. The threat is again bishop h6 check followed by queen g8 checkmate. This bishop h6 move is always hanging above black king's head. And here all black can do is to capture on h3, give away the rook in order to simplify the position, and now it's white who has an advantage. But in our game after king f8, Aronian missed his chance, didn't capture on d6 and played f5. Knight takes e5 by Nakamura, knight d5, queen d7 and bishop e7 check. This is a crucial point of the game where Nakamura made a very important decision. Instead of moving away his king, which actually could allow white to equalize the game, Nakamura went for queen takes e7. Look at this powerful move. Knight takes e7, king takes e7. And now if we have a look at the position, black has two pieces and a rook against a queen, and of course also taking into consideration the fact that white king is somewhat in danger, black has a huge advantage. Queen takes b7 by Aronian, king d7. Now all black should do is to consolidate his position. Meanwhile Aronian is grabbing some pawns, but of course this can't give white advantage. B takes c3, bishop b6, queen e2, rook a4, queen g2 and knight g4 check. And after king h1 this time we have another fork, knight e3, queen c6, but after rook takes h3 check finally Aronian resigned. If king g1 then rook takes a2 is coming, and actually white king is in a mating net. The rook is hanging, there is always a threat of giving a discover check. Let's just make a random move. If rook e1, the knight g4 check is coming, and black can announce a beautiful study like checkmate. That's why in view of these lines, understanding that his position is hopeless after rook takes h3, Aronian resigned. Another interesting game, I think. First it was Aronian who was playing a sharp game, tried to organize an attack, but his attack boomeranged back with a mighty force and Aronian found himself in trouble. In the end, a chess puzzle for you where the task is to find the mating line for white. I have to tell you that there is a mate in 6 moves and I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. Feel free to check them out as well. I will see you in my next video.